When we talk about function calls, there are two types of function calls. Actually, there is another type too, but we are not discussing that right now. We will discuss it later. For now, we are discussing these two types: pass by value or call by value, and pass by reference or call by reference. So actually what we have learned up till now in this tutorial was all about function call by value or function pass by argument pass by value. So there is another type which is pass by reference, and let's see the difference between both. To understand that, let's consider a real life example or real life scenario. So for that, let's consider a scenario for both these function calls. Suppose your professor has some notes. These are the notes of your professor, and he wants to give them to you so that you can learn. And his notes are present somewhere in his office. So this is his office, and maybe this is his table, and the notes are present there on the table. So he wants to give them to you. So what he does is he makes a copy of his notes. So he makes a copy of his notes here. These are the original notes, and this is the copy. What he does is he makes a copy, and he gives you this copy of his notes, and then he gives it to you so that you can learn, you can study, read, whatever. And then you read these notes, and then you use some highlighter on them, you doodle on them, or maybe spill coffee or something. So you did something with them. Now the question is, if whatever you doodle or whatever you wrote actually on these notes, will that be reflected here? Will that affect the original copy? Does that mean if you wrote something here, does that mean it will be written here on the original copy as well? No, that won't be, because this is a copy. Whatever you do on this, whatever you do here, will just be written here. The original notes are safe. Nothing is being written over there. Okay, now let's consider the same scenario again in a bit different way. So these are the notes of your professor, and they are present in his office on his table. They are placed there on his table. And what the professor does now in the second scenario, the professor wants to give you the notes, and what he does is he tells you the location of these notes, the original location of these notes. So what he does is he tells you to go to his office and pick up the notes that are placed on his desk, and use them, read them, and then return them back here after you're done with them. So the professor tells you the location of his office and the location of the notes, and tells you to use them and then return them. Now in this case, there is no copy. There is no copy. These are just the original notes. So now in this case, you take these notes, and then if you do something, if you spill coffee on them, or if you doodle on them, if you write anything on them, now will the notes of the professor be changed? So what will be the answer to that? So definitely the notes of the professor will be changed. Whatever you write, you are writing on the original copy. So the notes of the professor will be affected. So but if you do anything on them, the original copy will be affected. So this is the scenario. The first scenario that we discussed is actually function call by value, and the second scenario that we discussed is actually function call by reference, right? In the function call by value, there is a copy of variables that is being sent to the function. So the original variables, the previous variables, are not affected if you do anything with the copied variables. If you do anything with the variables that are being sent to the function, that are in the function, so the original are not affected. But in function call by reference, there is no copy. The location, the address, the reference, the location of the original variable are sent, and in that way, if you do anything with the variables, the original variables are vulnerable and they are affected, they are changed. Now this was the scenario. Let's look at it more formally and with an example. Let's do that. Okay, so a function called by value, what happens in this, copy of variable is passed to the function, and right here we have an example. So this is a code. I have made a function named square, and in this function an integer variable is being passed. Okay, let's see what's happening here. In the definition of the function, we are sending it a variable, and that variable is being multiplied, it's squared actually, and then it's returned back. Now let's see what's happening in the main program. So in the main program, I have made a variable named x, and then I have called this function square by value. This is called by value, the normal call that we have seen before. This is called by value. So I have called this function by value. So when I passed this x, this 2 here, I have passed this x. So what happens is a copy of this x is made. The original x is passed. So original is not passed, copy is passed. That is passed here. This copy of this x is passed here. So a has 2 right now, and what I'm doing is I am changing the value of a. You see in this function, I'm actually changing the value of the variable a. So a is being changed, and then I'm returning. So I'm doing two things. First I'm changing the value, and then I'm returning. So what's happening is okay, so 2 was passed here, and then it will be multiplied. Now a equals to 4, right? And then 4 is returned. Now let's see what should be the answer. So in this cout, obviously here 4 should be displayed, and in the next cout the value of x is being displayed. Now what should be the value of x? Should it be 2, or should it be the one that we changed? So this is called by value. That means copy of the variable is passed. That means the value should not be changed. The value of x should be 2, not 4. So here 2 should be displayed and displayed. And let's see the output. There are 2 cout statements. The first one is displaying 4, which is right. This should be 4 because the square is 4, and that is returned here. And the second statement, that is the value of this x, it is 2 here. So you can see x is not changed. Even we sent a variable there, we changed this variable, but this variable is something else, is another, because this variable is a copy. It's not the original variable. So whatever we changed is not reflected here. This x is 2, and that is right here. So this is called the value. This is the normal function call that we have studied up till now. Now the different one, let's see that an example of function called by reference, which is the different one, which we haven't studied up till now. Okay, what happens in pass by reference? Copy is not made, right? Reference is passed. So the location of the original variable is passed. That means original variable will be changed if we do anything. Now this is exactly the same code, except 2 things. Except first of all this. Here you can see the syntax of pass by reference, function called by reference, is different. You have to write an address operator right after your data type. And again here you can see with this data type, I have also written space, and I have also written address operator with the name of the variable. So these are the 2 differences in the syntax. Everything else remains same. Just these 2 things are different in the syntax. Okay, now let's see the code and its output. Everything is same. Nothing is different. Just these 2 things. So this is just this is function called by reference. Now you can see when 2 was sent, this x is 2. This was sent here, and when 2 multiplied by 2 is 4, so this a is 4, right? And that 4 was returned where the function was called. This is now 4, and then it's displayed. So this should, the output of this statement should be 4, and that is 4. That's fine. But now look at this. Cout x, we are displaying the value of x. So in the previous case, this value of x was 2, but now in this case you can see it's not 2. What is it? It's 4, right? So you can clearly see that we changed the variable right here. We multiplied it, the answer was 4, and then we stored it again in itself. So the answer, so the value has been changed now. It's not 2, it's 4. And that changing this variable actually had an effect on the original variable. So the original variable has been changed to, it's not 2 anymore, it's 4. And you can see the output right here. So you can see the difference.